People who work in the medical field are often privy to some of life's most horrific and grotesque sights, smells and sounds. But what about those who work underwater? While we're sure many of you have heard tales of open water divers encountering sharks or maybe even the occasional mermaid, today we're going to take it deep into the caves and hear some terrifying stories from cave rescue divers. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm your host, and when the lights go out, that's when things get really creepy. In our first story, we'll hear about a diver who had an encounter with something he just can't explain. It was the middle of the night when Mark, a seasoned cave rescue diver, got the call. They needed him to head down to the Blue Hole, a popular scuba diving spot known for its crystal clear waters and beautiful formations. The problem was, they weren't diving for fun. Someone had gone missing. He arrived at the site to see a team already assembled and ready to go. Mark suited up quickly, making sure every piece of equipment was in working order. He checked his air supply, his dive computer, and his emergency backup light, all while trying to gather as much information as possible about the missing person. The missing man had been diving with a buddy, but after a disagreement, both had split up. Now one of them was nowhere to be found. With everything ready, Mark signaled to the others that he was heading in, and then plunged into the darkness. As he descended, the sunlight faded away until only the faint beam of his headlamp illuminated the strange formations around him. At 40 feet, visibility started to decrease, making it harder to navigate through the narrow passages. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through his arm. Looking down, he saw a long, thin branch that looked like a human fingernail. With a sense of foreboding, he continued his descent. As he rounded a corner, Mark noticed a small opening ahead. Was it a cave or a crevice? It was too small to tell from where he was. Mark made his way closer and cautiously peeked inside. His heart skipped a beat. In the dim light, he saw the outline of a body. Was it the missing diver? Fighting back the urge to turn back, he swam closer. As he did, the body turned its head and Mark found himself face to face with a creature that defied explanation. Its skin was white, almost translucent, stretched taut over bony fingers and toes. Its eyes were wide and blank, staring straight at him. In a panic, Mark switched on his dive light. To his horror, the creature hissed and retreated deeper into the cave. Adrenaline surging through him, Mark reached out to grab it, but it slipped through his fingers like water. He chased after it, but the creature seemed to glide effortlessly through the water, always staying just out of reach. Finally, it disappeared into the darkness. Mark, shaken to his core, returned to the entrance of the cave. But as he turned to leave, he felt a sudden inexplicable urge to explore further. Something compelled him to follow the creature deeper into the underground labyrinth. Against his better judgment, he swam after it. The passage narrowed, forcing him to move forward in a cramped, awkward position. Then the water began to rise, slowing him down. Panic started to set in. He realized that if the water rose any further, he wouldn't be able to turn back. With a burst of energy, he pushed himself forward, squeezing through the tight space until he reached an opening. Gasping for breath, he turned back to find that the opening had vanished behind him and he was trapped. Adrenaline ebbed away, replaced by a chilling realization. He was alone in the pitch-black darkness, trapped by a vengeful spirit. Mark fought back tears, knowing that no one would ever find him in this forsaken place. Then, as suddenly as it began, the nightmare ended. The water receded, the darkness lifted, and Mark found himself back at the entrance of the cave. Shaking and disoriented, he surfaced, gasping for air. To this day, he still doesn't know what he encountered. Our next story will take us to the depths of the ocean, where a diver encounters a terrifying underwater structure. On a dark and stormy day off the coast of Port Lincoln, Australia, a group of 4 divers geared up for a cave exploration. Their destination, the Neptune Spear, a series of underwater caves known for its challenging terrain. The waves were crashing and the visibility was poor, but the divers were experienced and prepared. As they descended into the murky water, the conditions only got worse. The current picked up, swirling around them and obscuring their vision. Just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, they spotted a dark shape looming in front of them. It was a cave entrance, but something about it was off. Despite the rough conditions, they decided to venture inside. The interior of the cave was pitch black and eerily silent. The divers fanned out, their flashlights piercing the darkness, revealing a vast cavern filled with strange formations. Suddenly, one of the divers noticed a peculiar structure in the distance. It was shaped like a door, perfectly rectangular and almost smooth, as if man-made. Astonished, they swam closer. As they approached, the divers realized that what they thought was a door was actually a giant eye socket. The eye was huge, measuring almost 6 feet across, and was set into a larger humanoid face. The face had no features except for 2 more eye sockets above the first one, forming a terrifying visage from hell. Startled, the divers quickly backed away from the structure, turning to flee the unsettling sight. But their escape was cut short. The current had shifted, blocking their path. Unable to move forward or backward, the divers found themselves trapped in the claustrophobic space, forced to confront the horrifying statue. One of the divers, unable to contain their fear, screamed into the darkness, hoping that their panic wouldn't infect the others. The situation worsened when their dive lights flickered and died, plunging them into total darkness. The divers panicked, thrashing around in the confined space. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, something brushed against one of the divers, sending them into a frenzy. The divers struggled to find their way out of the cave, bumping into each other and knocking over rocks. Finally, they managed to surface, shaken and traumatized by what they had experienced. For years afterwards, they couldn't bring themselves to return to the water, haunted by the memory of the devilish underwater statue. To this day, they still wonder if the statue is real, and if so, what exactly is it guarding? And now we'll hear about a harrowing rescue mission that turns deadly. The year was 2008, and the location, a remote cenote in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The victim was an inexperienced diver who had gotten lost in the intricate underground tunnels. The rescue operation was fraught with danger and challenges. After hours of searching, a rescue diver finally located the missing man. But to his horror, the diver had passed away. The news of the fatality spread quickly, and another diver, John, volunteered to retrieve the body. He suited up, donned his breathing apparatus, and prepared to descend into the murky depths. The cenote was a labyrinth of dark, narrow tunnels, and John knew that even the slightest mistake could be fatal. As he moved through the maze-like passages, he kept a close eye on his air gauge, ensuring he had enough to surface. Suddenly, his light flickered and died, plunging him into total darkness. Panicked, he tried to find the source of the problem, but in the pitch-black environment, it was impossible to locate. Without hesitation, he activated his emergency release mechanism, releasing a buoyant soda canister that would help him ascend to the surface. But as he started to rise, he realized that the canister wasn't working properly. He was stuck underwater and his air was rapidly depleting. Then, in the darkness, he felt a tap on his shoulder. Fear coursing through him, he turned to face whatever was there. But his light remained stubbornly dark and he was unable to see. Then he felt it again, a gentle nudge on his shoulder. And this time he felt a presence behind him. Struggling to keep calm, John slowly ascended, guided by an unseen force. Just when he thought he couldn't take another breath, he broke the surface of the water, gasping for air. To his horror, he soon realized that he was being pulled under once more. With a final surge of strength, he managed to pull himself onto the ledge, collapsing onto the rocky terrain. He had survived, but the ordeal had taken a heavy toll on his body. And when the rescue team arrived, they found John in a state of shock, unable to speak and barely clinging to consciousness. He was rushed to the hospital where he spent several days in intensive care. He recovered physically, but the trauma of the incident left him deeply shaken. To this day, he still doesn't know what lurked in the darkness of that cenote, but he's eternally grateful to be alive. And there you have it, 3 terrifying tales of cave diving gone wrong. Did you enjoy these stories? If so, don't forget to show your support for more creepypasta content. And for more spine-chilling tales, stay tuned for more content. Until then, remember, some caves are best left unexplored. Thanks for watching.